Hey there, I'm Mark from Spectrum Pulse, and today we have from Nourished by Time, The Passionate Ones. Let's not mince words here. Erotic Probiotic 2 by Nourished by Time, project of Baltimore's Marcus Brown, was one of the most spellbinding releases and surprises of 2023 for me. Incredible texture, layered writing spanning complicated but passionate love stories amidst precarious economic situations, vocal delivery unlike anything else you would hear that year. I got to it late in 2023 and it easily vaulted to among my favorites of that year. And when I saw that groundswell land him signing to XL and putting out the just as excellent Catching Chickens EP, also one of the best projects of 2024, I might add, it was enough to set up The Passionate Ones as one of my most anticipated albums of 2025, especially as the critical acclaim pouring in suggested it might be even better. And well, yeah, of course, it's phenomenal. May easily fall among the best of this year. But I'll freely admit this took a little bit more to pull me into that uniquely strange embrace. Nourished by Time has always had a shaggy, organic texture in the freewheeling compositions that can feel almost abstract until you tap into where it's going. And this project is no different. Once you get on the wavelength, it's special. But I shouldn't be surprised that it's still a bit of a swerve, continuing the progression from that last EP where the fluttery but distinctly off-kilter funk of the gauzy synth gloss has been buffed ever brighter, with drum machines now nakedly borrowing from New Jack Swing and late 80s, early 90s house rhythms. But also, the grooves, and especially any of the rattling guitar tones, are rooted in a deeper, hollowed-out expanse, probably owing more to late 70s vintage post-punk, even touches of dub from that era in the bass lines and some of the more textured drum work, which produces a sharper juxtaposition that's a bit less seamless than every undulating edge of Erotic Probiotic, and indeed it feels a little darker as a result. The hooks are still magnetic, but where there was something weirdly exuberant, almost funny in moments, where if you chose to laugh amidst the pain, you knew that Marcus Brown was laughing too, here it feels a little harder for everyone to chuckle along, and Brown's delivery is a bit more restrained. I mean, apropos for 2025, I guess, but it's a little hard to find something with as much vibrant, understated power as Hell of a Life, or Shed That Fear, or The Fields, or even Daddy. But right from that oily warble that opens up Automatic Love, that stabilizes into the shimmering rushes of synth and new wave frolic around the more textured patter, or the heavier grind against the off-key turgid synths of its time. Not Imagine Dragons cover, I'm disappointed too, also probably the weakest song on the album. The more percussive groove around the somber piano anchoring When the War Is Over, even the hypnagogic warps of Jojo, all burnished and simmering, you know you're in different territory. But that's not saying we also don't get gorgeously stirring melodies anyway, like the soft-focused wavering glitter of the keys of Idiot in the Park, the more strident revving guitar on Max Potential with the gauzy feminine vocal samples around it, the watery house rollick and punch-ins of 9 to 5, Imagine Break Your Soul with some actual class consciousness, the scrappy layers and dub percussion around the pianos and the ghostly vocals of Crazy People, the cycling whir and the melancholic layers of guitar and the synthesizers across the quiet storm of Tossed Away, the kaleidoscopic low rumble around the whirring cascades of keys and guitar of the title track, with a kooky but kind of killer buzzy breakdown, but probably most on the gleaming up-tempo bounce with the contorted vocal samples and the bending guitar of Baby Baby, a deeply eerie and unsettling track that still resolves as a total banger. Utterly love that song. Like with Erotic Probiotic, it's hard not to praise the project on pure sonic rapture. There's nothing that quite sounds like what Marcus Brown is delivering, and once you clue onto the wavelength, it feels so special. But it was always the content that gave Nourished by Time that edge. And here, well, take much of the slightly off-kilter romance acutely felt under the dehumanizing forces of late capitalism in the text of the previous projects, but turn up that intensity. where you should want to cling to that passion however you can, but he also keys into how that can easily tilt into the demanding projection that goes too far. See the sudden sour swerve of max potential. And it's almost always built to bring as much pain as there is ecstasy. To quote Idiot in the Park, where I might be the first and probably only person to draw parallel to the modern idiots of Taylor Swift's title track for Tortured Poets Department last year, also the self-aware second song on the album, everyone's out there protecting their heart, but I need a love that leaves a scar. And that wide-angle ambiguity is most stark, of all places, on the wispy cult interlude, whereas there's this hypnotically choppy segment which seems like the sort of thing designed to help deprogram someone from cult indoctrination with genuinely good advice. But how good is it divorced from the passion that underscores one's love? If it just pushes you back into that same workaday drudgery that alienates us from our labor, is that a better solution? And there is something distinctly transgressive and kind of euphoric about acknowledging that this sort of intensity can be stigmatized if you go there. I love Crazy People with its epitaph, you say you're crazy, but crazy people don't have to say that they're crazy. It's the sort of unquantifiable power that capitalism just doesn't get within art or otherwise. And Baby Baby rightly highlights that increasingly militarized conditions under late capitalism in the States doesn't exactly lead to one's stability. The possibility of atrocities committed overseas, it's not that far removed from what can be done in America. But he also doesn't let himself off the hook on how reckless and painful all of it can be, where being one of the passionate ones is as much of a curse as it is a blessing. You feel like you're in a cult, especially when your partner doesn't match your freak, and more often than not, you're wound up rejected. The lovelorn tossed away is just goddamn heartbreaking, and it's pleased as he bleeds out trying way too hard to find this partner and please them, comparing it to being gored by a unicorn, along with the futility of the attempt at romance on When the War is Over, referencing the warm December of Sidney Poitier's directorial debut, where the proposal wound up rejected regardless of any care he gave. And by the album's title track and the conclusion, he begins to reflect on that ego death that can come with giving so much to try and find that passion, with both references to vampirism but also the tragedy of loss of self, made all the more difficult with every bit of past experience telling you to do different. To quote again, yes, I lost my reflection, I've got no protection. In short, yeah, I did it again. Nourished by Time is making the sort of truly transgressive and genre-breaking R&B that is unlike anything you're going to hear this year, with a thematic and emotional depth to feel deeply romantic, complex, and endlessly compelling. I don't know if it's got the immediate lightning-in-a-bottle magnetism of erotic probiotic, but it's the deepening of the ideas and the diversification of the soundscapes that makes it legitimately special. It's also one of the best albums of 2025, if you can't tell. It's probably going to get overlooked, even though there is absolutely no excuse. Go find your passion, and if you need some help in that department, Nourished by Time has the answer with this album. Y'all need to hear it. Please check this out. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you want to see more, please be sure to like, share, drop comments, subscribe. Again, it feels like I really wanted to be to this a little bit earlier, but I wanted to fully sit with it because it didn't fully click immediately. But yeah, this is really special. Again, one of the best albums of the year. I really hope all of y'all will get it around and actually hear it. Beyond that, though, anything else I might be able to do to improve my presentation, I'm all ears. And if y'all want to get involved in helping support the channel, get albums like this on my schedule, or just yell at me on my Discord, link to my Patreon and YouTube memberships is right over there. Once again, don't feel obligated. Tough times, I understand. The option's available. Till then, I'm Mark, you're watching Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.